Hi, my name is Sylvia from Learning New Creations, and today we're going to make Fred the Frog. He's done entirely in the hoop, and I'm going to be using the 5x7 hoop. That's the size that most people will be able to do. And I printed out the pattern pieces, and if your software allows you to do that, it's a good idea because you know exactly how big to cut your material, and it saves a load of wastage. We're also using some water soluble, and I'm using my 5x7 hoop with the magnets on it. So off we go. I've put the hoop in the machine, and the first color is going to stitch the outline of the legs. The machine's done the outline for the feet, and I just going to get my fabric, and I put the right sides facing together, and we're going to line it up like so. And I can use these, which is cheating a bit. If you don't have the metal hoop, you have to tape it down. I've returned the hoop to the machine, and we are now going to stitch out the outline with the fabric. This pattern is done in 3 hoopings. First I always do the legs, and then the arms, and then we do the body. It's done all the outline of the legs, and what we're going to do now is remove it from the hoop, remove the stabilizer, and then cut all around the stitch line, making sure you cut in here and in between the toes, otherwise they'll come out funny. So make sure you give it little nicks here. I've put the stabilizer in the hoop, and this is the second hooping, and now the machine is going to stitch out the outline for the arms. If you've got a machine that does an automatic basting around the pattern, you don't need to do this step, you can just skip it and go straight to step 2. The machine is finished stitching out the outline, giving us a guide where we have to put our fabric. And again, I've doubled this fabric, right sides facing inside. And I'm going to just place that here, making sure it covers the outline. And it does. And we're just going to tape this down now. And we're going to put the hoop back to the machine. The machine now is going to stitch out the outline onto the fabric. And while it's stitching, you can be busy cutting or trimming the legs. The machine is finished stitching the outline, and we are now ready to remove it from the hoop and remove the stabilizer. You can take all your frustrations out on this. Give it a good old tug. And again, we're going to trim right around the stitching line and really neat, and maybe give a little nip here and put it aside. This is the third hooping, and this is going to be Fred's body. So the machine is first going to do an outline of his body. So we now got the outline of the frog, and we're going to put the fabric right side facing up and make sure the pile goes down. And again, I can use these, which is quite handy. So at home, if you don't have the metal hoop, then you're going to just have to tape or pin the corners. And we're going to now return the hoop to the machine. We're just going to do the first stitch out again, just to give you the outline of the frog, so it's easier to see where everything goes. So go back to number 1. Color 2 is going to stitch the outline of the eyes. Now you get your white piece of fabric for the eyes and place it immediately on top of the eyes and tape it down. We're now going to stitch the outline of the eye. The machine has stitched the outline of the eye, and I'm just going to trim nicely around the stitch line. I've trimmed around his eyes and I've put the hoop back into the machine, and I'm just going to put some of this water soluble on top, and now it's going to stitch the outline of the eye in a decorative stitch. You can use any color you want for that. I prefer to use white, but you know, you can use whatever you fancy. Just done the decorative line around the eyes, and now we're going to do the black pupil. It stitched out the black of the eye, and now it's going to do the little highlights, the twinkle in his eye. The next color stop is black, and we are going to give him a smiley face. The machine's now done the mouth, and now it's going to do the outline for the applique. We're now going to put the applique material over the outline. And we're just going to secure it with tape so it doesn't move. It's done the outline, and what we're going to do now is cut closely right along the stitch line. I just have to get the cat out of the way because he wants to help. Come on, Purse, out you go. Come on, we got to sew. I've cut along the stitching edge, and if you want to personalize it now, now's the time to put a name on or whatever you want to do. But we're not going to do that right now. And I'm just going to cover it with some water soluble, and then we're going to stitch the decorative stitch. The machine's done the outline, the decorative outline, and now what we have to do is get the arms and the legs ready. And I hope while this has been stitching, or while you've been stitching this, that you've been cutting out the arms and the legs and turning them inside out. I've got a pair of hemostats here that one Canadian lady kindly sent to me, and I use it all the time. What you do is you open it up, pick the fabric and close it here, and then just pull it out and let go, and then you can gently push it out. That's one. Now the leg's going to be a bit trickier because it goes around the corner, and again you pick it up, lock it here and pull it out. To wiggle it a bit, but it will come right. It's a bit tricky. There we go. And this is where it shows you if you've cut, if you put a little nick in here with the scissors. Okay. And now what you have to do is just stuff them very, very lightly. As you can see, this isn't very thick, it's very thin. It just gives it a little bit of body. I finished turning the arms and legs inside out and stuffing them, and I just want to show you they're very, very lightly stuffed, and they're only stuffed up until about here, so you leave all this space empty. The same with this. If you don't do that, you're going to have trouble stitching it all together. So all this is all empty, okay? And now we're going to do the placement on the actual body. I've placed the arm in position, and now we're going to secure it. Now for the leg, make sure the stuffing is nowhere near where you're going to stitch. And if you see this little line here, that's where you have to line the leg up with. The next color is going to be the placement line for the leg. I've placed the leg in the right position, and before you actually do that, make sure your needle, you forward the needle to the starting point, and that makes it easier, otherwise it might go back over the leg. So off we go. The next one is going to do the other leg, and it's doing the placement line. Again, I've placed the leg in position, and sometimes it's handy if you just guide it with your hands, making sure you don't put your finger under the needle. Placement line for the arm. And the next stitch out is going to be the it's going to secure the arm. Now we're going to tie his arms and legs up, so we want the minimum amount of bulk. So we're going to try to lift his arm up and put his arm like so. And do the same with the other one. You got to make sure you stay well within the stitch line. And now we're going to squash his feet up. Alright, we're going to tape that nice and snug. Now make sure that the arms and legs are nowhere in the stitching line, and press it down firmly, and I think we're ready to put the top on. I've placed the last bit of material on, make sure the pile is down, and what I'm going to do is pin it all the way around. I've pinned all the way around, and now we're going to turn the hoop over, which is very important. And make sure none of the pins are anywhere near the stitching line, which they're not. Can you see this is the stitching line and my pins are well outside it. And I'm now going to return the hook to the machine for the last stitch out. Right, we're now ready to do all the stitch around. Okay, before you remove the embroidery from the hoop, what I do as a precaution, make sure you take all the pins out. You leave the pattern, the design in the hoop, and you just check to see if you haven't sewn anything that you weren't supposed to, and we haven't. So now I'm going to trim right around it and then turn it inside out. I'm going to take, I've cut all the way around them, and now I'm going to take them out, hopefully. It's a forceps birth. And here he is. It's looking pretty good, don't you think? Just have to stuff him now, and he'll be ready to sit beside his brother. He's all done. All I have to do is sew up his bottom with some slip stitches. He's very good at sitting up by himself. And here he is together with his brother. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.